Ethan is in real trouble now. You want to protect him. Tell me everything.
First of all, hello. This show is absolutely incredible. I watched it twice just to see if I could pick up on some of the mysteries here and there that lead you along the way. And they're all there. People just got to watch and pay attention. They are all there. But Maxwell, incredible performance, man. You are phenomenal. Ethan grows through a major transformation in the series. Can you talk to me about his journey of a teenager forced to grow up so quickly under this intense emotional pressure?
Yeah. I mean, it was such a unique and fun thing to go through as an actor. Kind of, I was given my starting point and kind of ending point, and Regina and Olivia, our showrunners, are so amazing at what they do. And they sat me down and sort of talked through this and then gave me the tools I needed and let me run with it. It was really fun kind of finding, at the beginning, he's very underwater and he's got all of these traumas and all of this immense stuff just boiling under the surface, and kind of this, as you said, this rapid, he has to grow up, he has to address these things. It was interesting, finding how do I get this same character from this point to this next one without changing him fundamentally, but he still goes through an immense change. So it was really interesting to get to explore that, and it was a ton of fun too.
Incredible. Look, Gloria, Michelle Sanders, known as Sanders, is a powerhouse in this show. How does she fit into the world of the better sister?
She fits in because she's a powerhouse. Yeah. She is asked by her friend to take this case. Okay. Her job for the most part is to be a defense attorney for underprivileged teenagers. But she does this as a favor to her friend. Right out of the gate, she sees that there's a whole different situation. This is not going to be a straight, situation. These two women are sisters, and the boy is one of their sisters is very different than the other. And that's the maternal, but she lives with okay, what are you doing? What is that? Just get out of the room. I need to talk to my client. Ladies, you got to figure it out. So she just right from the start, secrets and lies. Yep. She, right from the beginning, you got to tell me everything. You want to win this? I got to know everything. Don't hide anything, because it's going to come out. And eventually, there's just a bond that forms between these two, and that's a great thing about Michelle, is that these women are going to do what they're going to do. She's not going to put up with it. However, this is her focus. Yep. And without spoiling anything, there's a pivotal moment that Michelle has with the two sisters. And after that moment, it's like a turning point. It's the turning point of the story. Yep. And it was very fun. You know why? Because I like to get pissed off at people. Because I like to tell them what to do. Because I'm like, stop messing around. I use other words, but
I love that.
I know, me too. It was great.
Look, this is the best part of the show. It keeps you guessing all the way through.
Yeah.
And there's this pivotal moment where you're like, oh man, this is picking up. Now, Gabriel, what can you tell us about Jake Rodriguez and the role he plays in the larger story of The Better Sister?
I think Jake is the shoulder to cry on, and he's the it's a complicated shoulder. Let's put it that way. I think when you're grieving, there's a lot of feelings that are coming up. Those of us who have over someone so close as a father, as a husband, you've got needs and urges, sometimes unconscious, even to yourself. And Jake is there for better or for worse. Use him, abuse him, go with it, be sincere with it, don't. Whatever you want to do with it, he's there to mix in with the watercolors of the feelings that are going on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Maxwell, your character shifts his emotional reliance from Chloe to Nikki. Can you talk about showing that subtle, profound change over the course of the show?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very fun. I think I've said fun 1,000 times. It was really interesting to get to explore that, because his initial, when we meet Ethan as a character, he is completely dependent and reliant on his mom, Chloe. And as, you see this ripple effect of this tragedy in his life that is also just an immense event, he has no choice but to shift where his shoulder to cry on is, because if he refuses to budge or bend, it would break him. And I think it was sort of like not only a necessity, but a just an eventuality that it would happen. And it's really a beautiful relationship to explore, and just sort of how that affects his relationship with Chloe, and how this, newfound kind of relationship with Nikki is really sending the effects through not only his life, but his mom's life and everyone around him. Just seeing that bubble out is pretty amazing.
Absolutely. Now, Gloria, the series touches on so many relatable themes that so many families deal with, from secrecy, shame, the illusion of protection. Can you talk about how these themes resonated with you and how they shape your performance as Sanders?
Yeah, no question about it. I love that. What with the illusion of protection. That's a great way to put it. For me personally, it ties into a lot of things in my own experience. Secrets and lies, for sure. And that illusion of protection. Also, how trauma, particularly at a young age, can, needless to say, how people respond to that in different ways is indicative of how much healing has been done. Yeah. You have two sisters, obviously very different, however, the same trauma in multiple different ways, right? One of them becomes the perfectionist. Everything has to be, even the hair, like everything has to be perfect. The exterior is perfect. The house, blah, 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 blah. The other is the partier, right? And until those secrets, until those lies are brought out into the open, then the illusion of protection is shattered. And the real protection, the real love, and the real sisterhood can literally have the opportunity to take shape. But that doesn't happen if that swirl of secrets and shames and silence, those are the killers for any family. Secrecy, shame, silence. So, yeah, it's very intricate. It's very personal in that way. I think that everybody can relate to with those things in one way or another. Everybody has secrets and lies.
Everybody, absolutely. Now, Gabriel, Jake is closely connected to Adam's family, but also tied to his professional world. Yes. What was the most interesting to you about playing a character that is caught between both spheres?
I think what you just said, trying to figure out how you're going to navigate both of those. For me personally, like, I live here in the United States. My family is Latin. We're extremely emotional. It's telenovelas all the time with your siblings, and you're living in one. So I got like a foot in either world, and the one world is, forgive me, but a little drier and a little more like, okay, this is the law and this is what's happening and you need to show up on time. And this is like, you cannot have this outburst in this public place. And the other one is, my feelings have their own logic. And who cares if feeling is first? Who pays any attention to the syntax of things? So like, I think that was a huge draw for me of, okay, let's put this beautiful, delicious relationship right in the middle of law and of right and wrong and of crime and punishment and everything else that is in the American penal system. So there was the juice for me anyway.
I love that. Well, look, congratulations on this fantastic series. I can't wait for everybody to see it. Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it. Incredible.
Thank you so much.
First of all, this show's incredible. I watched it.
No way. Oh, that makes us so happy.
Here's the reason. I watched it twice to see if I could solve the mystery, if there were little Easter eggs that I could find throughout the mystery, throughout the show, which there are. Everything is there. You just got to be paying attention.
Yep.
Now, this story is about sisters told by a pair of creative partners who share a deep personal history together. How did your connection influence the tone and emotional rhythm of the writer's room?
Oh, such a great question.
We speak in unison.
I think that to start from Regina and I are like family, and we have known each other for so long, and we were lucky enough to learn from the same place, and to share that, to have that shorthand, to have that same language, to have the same frame of references in many instances. You can't put into words what it does to you in terms of being creative partners, and also just the sense of safety and love and unconditional love that is present, because you have so much respect and admiration for what can be the best work, and for the way you work, the discipline of the style of working. It was just, and we make each other laugh, and that's not too shabby.
Also, the commitment to like, what is the most unusual way into this scene? Or, the trust of saying, is this good? It's not so good. Yeah. Let's keep working on it. Like, just that I love writing with Olivia so much because there is that level of like, we just want the work to be good.
Yeah.
We're not there to tell each other lies or to say pretty things to each other. And that's hard to find.
Sure. I mean, look, it shows on screen. The show's fantastic. Now, themes like class, addiction, image, and sisterhood run through every layer of this story. Was there a particular theme that guided you in the writer's room to become your North Star when you guys were shaping the narrative?
I think family is at the heart of it for us, right? These sisters, nobody is all good or all bad, right? I mean, that you're trying to be better than your worst self. And that's true for everybody. And how people bring the brokenness of their past to any given moment, and wanting to honor each character, Chloe and Nikki, absolutely, but every single character in our ensemble in the fullness and the richness of the past that they were bringing to a given moment. I think that's what we feel makes the universe of the show feel so rich and textured. But yeah, I mean, all of it. I think both Regina and I, dealt with addiction in our family, and so I think in the beginning that was a real guiding light. And then the more that we got to know the characters, the more they just all became so real to us.
Right, it's like what environment makes these people?
Yes.
And they're so different, and yet there's that connection of that childhood past together. And then you put them out in the world and you think like, well, are there answers in their parents? Mm-hmm. And that was so fun for us to like go back and try to figure it out, and who remembers what and what's real, and really nothing's real. Discover that as well.
Absolutely. Now, Olivia, you've built stories around stylish ensembles like Ocean's 8, and Regina, you've leaned into intense character dramas like Mayor of Kingstown. What storytelling itch did The Better Sister scratch that was new for both of you?
I think, for me, I had to do a contemporary drama comedy, like that was, heist movies obviously are a very stylized genre, and you want to satisfy in certain ways. And I think Regina, has had such amazing experience in these worlds, in these worlds of drama. But it was just so fun. I think also for both of us to be with an ensemble of a lot of women, and getting to be telling some of those stories, that was a real gift.
Yeah, I mean, so many of the shows I've worked on, been lucky enough to work on, are about men doing bad things to each other. Interesting, psychologically fascinating always, but the idea that what women do is almost on a much more savage, intimate level that doesn't involve a cartel. Or, spoiler alert, that doesn't involve smuggling guns or anything like that. It's like I really haven't gotten an opportunity to write women like this, and that's new for me. So it's great.
Every cast member I've spoken to loved that both of you were on set. You've described yourselves as obsessive freaks about that and staying involved even after the scripts are written. Can you talk about a moment during production where being present allowed you to pivot or improv something in real time?
Absolutely. I mean, I think there are times where we would, reorder, rewrite, you sit in rehearsal and something's not working. And so you dig in with the actors, you find it, and we were very open to that. And we were so lucky to have collaborators that were also open to that. And that's, if that's your DP, your actors, for us, it was very much a set that we felt like we wanted it to be in, and we think it was safe and open and collaborative, because it's the best idea. We all want the best version. It's so fun, the living, breathing ongoingness of it, that it's not set in stone, that it's going to tell you what it needs to be. And we were both lucky enough to sort of learn from a master at that, but so it was so fun. And I just think both of us couldn't imagine being away. One of us would be on set while the other was prepping, but then we'd get to be on set together often. And it's just, we would have paid the price of admission to be there. It was just so special to get to build it all together.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's such an incredible experience to do things in the moment, to run in and say, hey, that was really funny. Let's keep that and keep going forward. Because I've been in environments before that are a little too structured, that there's no room for breath.
Yeah.
And we had directors, we were so lucky to have actors who were giving us stuff, and we were just alive. And if you're not there, you can't do that.
Yes.
And yes, it's intense and arduous sometimes, but for me, it's like it helped us in editing as well, because we remembered stuff that maybe didn't end up in the cut. So it was just amazing.
That's incredible. Now, look, Jessica and Elizabeth are phenomenal in this, and their sisterhood, their dynamic is just magical on screen together. Can you talk to me about working with them as collaborators and what made them the perfect pair to cast as Chloe and Nikki in this?
Absolutely. I mean, they're both such incredible performers. They're also both producers, so they brought such a level of professionalism, of competency, of awareness of the totality of the project, and a self-sufficiency. They knew what they needed, and they knew what they needed from us. And to see them together, I mean, we were jokingly saying it's like we first saw them side by side and we thought we're brilliant. I mean, this is look at them, so brilliant. They look exactly like sisters. They sound alike. It's crazy. But I think that there's such the alchemy that's to see them, and Elizabeth slide into that older sister role and Jess into the younger sister role, and the chops that they have. And I think there's so many surprises in these performances for fans of theirs. It's a little bit different than you've gotten to see them before, and to get to explore that with them, we just had so much fun, and they brought so much. And when you have people like that, you're like, we're gold. Like and then the rest of the ensemble. I mean, Kim and Lorraine and Corey and Gloria,
Gabriel and
Matthew.
Yeah. I also think it's chemistry.
Yeah.
And you that's luck. That comes from somewhere else, because you could get these brilliant women and you could possibly, there's a potential to not buy them as sisters at all. But
right.
That's what we were very lucky.
Yeah, I want to talk about the character Ethan real quick, because that is such a layered character. I don't want to dive into any spoilers here, but what stood out to you about Maxwell in the casting process that you knew he had what it takes to be Ethan?
I mean, the second we saw Maxwell read, this is it. Ethan is at that moment between boyhood and manhood, and to capture that innocence, that desire to be an adult, the unwieldiness of a new body, and what does it mean? And you have to believe he would be capable of actually murdering his father, and also that he's a kid caught up in all of this. And Maxwell was it was amazing to watch him inhabit all of that simultaneously, and the pain of being a kid taken from a life that you didn't even know you missed, and discovering that with both of his mothers sort of simultaneously. It's a lot to ask, and he really did it.
We also watched the audition, and he made us cry.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to do when you're seeing it, as you know, over and over. Like, wow, he was so beautiful and present and just, delightful.
Yeah, such a compelling actor. Now, is this a world you'd want to return to, maybe as a follow-up limited series, or even a spiritual successor that tackles another fractured family under pressure?
Absolutely. We cared really deeply about having a super satisfying ending for the series and wanting an audience to feel like they knew what happened. They got it. It was the fullness of the story. But we absolutely love these characters, and we would feel incredibly lucky. We think about them all the time. This morning we were thinking about things that could have happened to them. So we would certainly be very happy to keep going.
We kept living with them through and editing.
Yeah.
So, these guys all had a break in a life, and we were like, we're still in there.
I love it. Listen, I'd love a season 2. That would be fantastic. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. We
Thank you so much.
appreciate it.
Oh my God, this is everywhere. At least it's a good photo of us.